Now in this file D, I've done something a little bit different. I just rendered a static picture. So if I go to my outputs, I can see my frame range is set to current frame. So I just rendered one picture of each. And let's look at the final render first. So this is full body portrait. Oh, we're getting that error, not error, that weird thing. Okay, so that's full body portrait, top balcony view, the full room view, where we would see the lights in there. I don't have the lights displayed anymore, and this is the right side view. And what we're seeing here is we're seeing the shadows. And so for this, we're looking at the shadow. I'm going to go back to this view, and we'll look at red. So that's the red. Now, in this position, it's not coming down from the side. And so let's look at our Houdini file. So in this file, I have the red light shining in the front, the green light kind of back to the left, and then the blue light back right. And if we were to go to the OBJ, I'm not using the boxes at all in this, and I'm also using a point light that has a spotlight enabled, and that's the area. So if you were to monkey with these, you can blend, and so the delta gives you that hard circle, and the more that I open up the delta, the more I get kind of a soft blend between the two. Um, and so it's kind of like a focus on a spotlight you might have. Focus on a spotlight. So anyway, I got these three lights. There's no there's animation going on, but I didn't have any animation in this file. And because it just renders one frame. So let's look back at our lighting. So we see the light hitting the effect and the intensities of these lights. Um, I changed the attenuation. The attenuation is physically correct, and the intensity is 5.5, and that's the same for all of them. And so, or I guess the red's less, and the green and the blue are, or the green is higher than the blue, and maybe my error. But we could still see. So if I look at all of them, green, maybe it is getting hit harder in the back. So I got red, green, and blue. Okay, and so we see the direction of those lights where they're hitting really carefully. Now, one cool thing that I can do when I render this in Houdini, we can see up here in the top of the top of the file up here. I rendered it as an EXR, which allows you to have a color value that's greater than one, a white value that's greater than one, which is cool. And I'm going to hit this button on Houdini, on the MPlay, the image viewer, adapt full pixel range. And it means that it kind of squeezes it down so that the top brightest value is equal to 1. And now we see the image is less blown out. If I look at my red, I see this is the value of my red. I see more detail in there. Green, I see that. I see more detail in the hair. And blue. Now all that detail was there. If I click on this button here, that restores it, especially the green. See, it's how all it's like burnt out. And when I first started working in film, and even before that with television, this was like definitely a no-no. And so we had to be very, very careful to not get any clipping like this unless it was desired, and usually it's not. But you lost all the detail in there, and so we would have to lower our white values so we would get that, and then maybe the compositor would have to adjust gamma or something to get the lighting. And then when the EXR came along, not too long after I started working in film, I think it was already being used by ILM. Then when that we got access to that, and then so we could render a image that had blown out in it, and then that could be adjusted in compositing later to restore the detail. So, so this red, green, blue just shows that, uh, basically shows that, uh, three different lights, the different values on it, and being able to, recover that, detail in compositing. And so notice here, when I go to the green and I click on this one, it automatically sets a level. That, green value was brighter. So it toned down everything by 2.3, a little more than 30% of the original value. If I look at the blue on the right and click it, it knocked it down to 41% or almost 42%, because that blue light wasn't as bright, as the green light, and so it adjusted those separately. And then the red, um, let's see if I do the auto thing on the red, so that knocked down that to 29. And so depending on which one I click to knock it down, this picture will look a little bit different. And if I click on the red, green, blue, and then do the auto, it made, so maybe it did. I think it probably took the brightest one and knocked them down all to whatever the brightest one was. So, but anyway, this is a way of, adjusting our pictures, and it's good to learn what these kind of controls can do to your picture, um, and like, and the help manual in, for the image viewer, and it has two. There's the M play and an image viewer. It kind of has the same name, but very similar functions. There's a lot of overlap. And this is the independent M-Play viewer, and then there's a one that's built into Houdini, for compositing or doing your preview render. Anyway, so that's red, green, and blue light, and having a render that was blown out, and being able to tweak those values. And then, also, I haven't even talked here about gamma for that. This isn't really a compositing class, but, those are things to play with. I'm going to reset everything, and those buttons on the left of them are the reset. Okay, and that was my file D, and so you could open up the D file and see that. And next we'll look at, we'll see a little bit of animation going on.